On the flip side, in Starkville, State lost yesterday. You had some State fans there in Nashville, though, holding up signs, "We want Doug." Mm-hmm. It's a simple question, but kind of a loaded one. Is he getting the job?
I don't know that he's the favorite, but he's under heavy consideration. Let's just put it that way. I think that it's probably less than 50-50 based on everything that I've been told that he would be the guy. But I do feel like it's a two-horse race between him and Florida Gulf Coast coach Carl Smesko. And if Smesko says no, they will probably just go to Novak. So I think he's option B at this point. And if option A says no, they'll cut this pretty quick.
It's interesting. And John Cohen, as we've talked about, slightly different circumstances, but had a chance to hire an interim, and everybody would have supported it and understood. Chose not to. Worked out, but chose not to. How much pressure is on him? Without getting you in trouble, how much pressure is on him? Because I talked to a couple State fans a few days ago about this, and baseball's working out. It's really working out with Chris Lemonis, national championship winning coach and all that. Chris Lemonis wouldn't be here without an unexpected scandal from his predecessor. Joe Moorhead didn't work out. Mm-hmm. That didn't work out, obviously. Yeah. Nikki McCray-Penson, now the reason she left was not results related, but year one went about as bad as it could have.
Yeah.
Is there lacking confidence in his ability to make this hire? Is there pressure on him to get this one right because of how the other ones have gone?
I don't think women's basketball dictates anything. Nobody's firing an athletic director because he can't get a women's basketball hire right. So I don't think that's an issue. Plus, and we started talking about this on the podcast yesterday, Cohen sort of has an out, right? If he hires Novak and it doesn't work out, he goes, well, that's who y'all wanted me to hire. He can just sort of point it back at the Mississippi State fans. So your overall point is correct. The John Cohen's hires to this point, Lemonis has been really good. Canizero, I feel like those are circumstances beyond his control. Moorhead was a bad hire. Penson, regardless of what happened with her health-wise, was not a good hire. I mean, that program was not going in the right direction under her. And then the jury is still out on Mike Leach, very much. So that's a real question. We'll have to see. If you hire Novak, if we talk about these two guys, if you hire Novak, I mean, you sort of, it's the popular choice. The players want him. He obviously showed this year that he can do the job under. I mean, he did it under great adversity. Next year, State's going to have a lot more players to work with. It'll look like a real team. It won't just be 7 players. But if you hire Smesko, on paper, that guy is a fantastic coach. He's never, since Florida Gulf Coast moved into Division I, he's never won less than 22 games in a season. He dominates that conference down there. He's a relatively young guy. He's 51, but he's coached there for 20 years. He's been the coach at Florida Gulf Coast since 2002, and has just never moved on. I'm sure there have been some jobs that have had his interest, but he hasn't found the right one. That's on paper. I know we're saying about the same thing about Moorhead, but on paper, that's a really good hire. I mean, that guy is as proven as you can get. If it doesn't go right, I don't know who to blame there. But I guess when you're the boss, blame obviously comes to you at some point. There's no getting around that. But at the end of the day, John Cohen's tenure at Mississippi State is tied to Mike Leach. If Leach is successful, nothing else matters. If Leach isn't successful, well, then you got to talk about some things.
And then on the flip side, I mean, I wonder how common hiring 2 basketball coaches in the same cycle is. Because barring something crazy, I mean, have you heard anything definitive? I mean, the expectation is the men's program will have an opening here very soon. The season, like I said earlier, for both programs in the state, honestly.
It was funny today at the press conference. Hallen was asked about one of his signees. He's like, oh, he's the most talented kid I've ever gotten here. I'm just like, well, we'll see how that goes. All indications are that when Mississippi State is inevitably eliminated from the SEC tournament, they will move forward with hiring a new head basketball coach for the men's program. Nothing definitive, obviously, because the season's not over. Ben Howland has earned the respect and deserves to be able to finish the season and not have to deal with that. But hot boards are up. Discussion is happening as Mississippi State prepares to move into a new era of men's